Wow, I pulled that one off. That was pretty cool. Anyway, guys, hello. Welcome to episode 9. It's going to be a lot of fun today. We're going to have a great guest on, Chef Keith Norman. Most of you know him. Maybe you don't, but this is a guy you got to listen to. He's great. I'm not gonna spoil it. Let me bring in my co-host here, the man of steel himself. There he is.
Hello,
Mark
Jimmy
Steele.
Vigilante. How are you, sir?
How you doing, buddy? What'd you think of that countdown? You like that?
Yeah, you kind of caught me off guard a little bit. I thought there was going to be like a rocket ship ready to go off, or it was like New Year's Eve or something. But it had some confetti going. I wasn't used to it. Nice.
Yeah, so I just threw something else in there. Who knows? You get that 30, you get that nice song going. It's pretty cool. Hey, you know what? Before we bring our guest in, let's let everybody know what's going on next week, because it's important and I want to make sure everybody knows this, okay? First of all, I want to let everybody know that the week of August 9th, okay, that week, okay, there is actually the Travel Channel has Shark Week, okay? Well, Jimmy V Live Channel has the Men of Steel Week. And I'm not going to spoil more than that. I'm going to let Mark talk about that. We're going to have a special podcast on Monday, next Monday, and we're going to have our regular time. Still going to be 2 p.m., but it's going to be Monday, and it's going to be on Tuesday. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, well, thanks for the introduction, Jimmy, and that's a nice way. Maybe that should be the tagline for next week is Men of Steel. But next week we're actually going to have my dad on as our guest, as our special guest. He's been in Las Vegas for as long as I've been in Las Vegas, which is pretty much my entire life. So you can do the math. And he's been around and he's seen so much growth. He used to take care of guests. He was in the restaurant business as well. So he's going to have a lot of stories to share, including he used to take care of the Rat Pack. He's been through a lot of different things. He used to take care of Frank Sinatra all the time, plus had his own restaurant with my mom and the family. And that's where I got my start in the business is growing up. So, and he was back in the day, he's from England. So he's got a little bit of an accent, so don't let that throw you off that I don't have any. But he sounds cooler than he is. But these are all the same stories that I've been hearing for 30 years, but now he gets to share them to everybody. And it's back old school vintage. Those of you who love Las Vegas and like to hear the whole stories and how it used to be in Las Vegas, this is definitely going to be the show for you. So
yeah, he's great guy too. Great guy. And that's Tuesday, right? That's Tuesday.
Correct. That's going to be Tuesday.
And what about Monday? Because I want to make sure everybody knows that it's a special broadcast next Monday as well.
Yeah, Monday we're going to do something to, just because the demand is so high, Jimmy, right? We got to start doing it 2 days a week now, huh?
Oh, crazy. Don't tell me that.
But it's going to be another guest that's actually, everyone can see my logo and knows the Restaurant Hospitality Institute. It's going to be actually our valedictorian from our first graduating class. It's hard to believe it was almost 5 years ago, but she will be on, and now she's working as a general manager inside with MGM Mirage. I'm not going to spoil too much, but we'll see over the course of the week who she is, and she's going to have almost all the guests we've had so far have been like standalone operators and chefs and things like this. She works in a major resort for a major company where she's seen stuff, going through this whole COVID and reopening. And she's been around town for 2008 and, October 1st. And so she's going to have a lot of insight to talk about the resort side of how it's been affecting the industry. So.
And that's a perfect lead-in to our guest coming up. And definitely, guys, it's going to be a special one. You guys are going to love it next week. I think you're going to love today, too, because we have a 20-year veteran from one of the casinos on the Strip from a chef point of view. And most of you know this guy. He's great. Here he is. Add him to the stream. There he is. Chef Keith Norman. How you doing, Chef?
Could not be better. How are you two?
Things are good, man. Things are awesome.
Yeah,
the
cool.
sun is shining. We woke up today. You can't get much better than that.
There you go.
It's great. It's great. Keith, I know you just met Mark now.
I did, yes.
But we go back a while. And one thing I want to let everybody know, Keith is one of those chefs that's been involved with the health district for a long time. So I know him very, very well from back in the day. And he's always brought all his expertise from his point of view to all his people. I'm going to let him talk about himself. He's also does specialty classes. He definitely does. I go to him for all my people. I actually say, they ask me, who do you go to for serve safe training? I go to Chef Keith. Okay, because he can reach the people. Everybody gives him excellent reviews on that, and he can talk about that a little later on. It's up to him, on that. But I'm really excited to have Keith. Keith, explain to us what you're doing, man. How we'll get into where you come from, but tell everybody where you're at now and what's going on with you.
So I appreciate, first of all, the opportunity. Anytime that hang out in the same room with you, Jimmy, is always cool anyway. And so appreciate our friendship and relationship over the years. But no, I've been at the South Point here for 13 years, but I opened up Suncoast when Mr. Gone owned that. So that's where my 20 years with him comes from. But, I do a lot here. We rolled out years ago different food safety programs. So I run that here and try to keep, and that now includes, food allergies. So just try to keep everybody, balanced and safe. And now with this new monster that we have to manage, Jimmy, and this just as well as I, when you have high standards, something like COVID, it may put a ripple in the water. But if you're doing the right thing, all you're really doing now is adjusting.
Correct. And the place you're at right now, I want to make sure everybody comes and sees you.
Yeah, no, Suncoast. See, now you got me talking about old school. But South Point, we've been we opened up, opened back up, and we have 4 of our restaurants open currently. Oyster Bar is under construction. Hopefully that'll open up soon. But no, great place. To visit. Casino is really doing well, but just a beautiful place, and it's a friendly place, family place, and the two of you should actually come out for a visit too. Just putting that out there.
No problem. We can be over right after the show.
You bet.
We can do a little. I've been to your property many times, and one thing is that I can imagine. I've been in Las Vegas for my whole life. I can't imagine coming here and what it would be like as a tourist. It would just be overwhelming. But I would think that the South Point would be the place to be. You got everything under one roof, right? You can go bowling, movie theaters. You got all those great restaurants. You have the equestrian, the arena in the back. You guys have everything all in one over there, don't you?
Absolutely. And theaters should be opening up on the 14th Cinemark.
Great.
But it's a one-stop shop here. We're actually building a new arena or more space. So hopefully when we get through the whole COVID exercise and we get back to whatever our new normal is going to look like, now we'll have more space, for the horse shows and when NFR is here. But no, we have our spa, theaters, 11 restaurants. Once they all come back up, we have 11 restaurants under one building, so you can do everything in the building. I always laugh when my family comes to visit. My older sister, she comes out for vacation, never leaves the building because she doesn't have to. We have a gift shop, so everything that you would do down on the Strip, and we can do right in the building. So it's a blessing.
And a super convenient sports book too. You can park right in the front, just go right in, make a bed, and come right back out. Not that I've done it, but I've heard.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff. Poker room just remodeled. Now we have 30 tables in there, and it's beautiful and doing well. And of course, now with the partitioning and things, that's a little different. But yeah, you could do everything without even leaving the building.
That's awesome. So tell us, you said 4 of your 11 restaurants are open. What are the 4 restaurants that are open, and how have you kind of changed them to reconfigure to what's going on? And you're not including the hot dog stand as a restaurant, are you?
I'm going to throw that in there because it's pretty popular. But
popular.
We have our steakhouse, Silverado Steakhouse, our Italian room down Vito's, Steak and Shake. So we have a franchise there, and that's a pretty neat restaurant too. Our coffee shop has been open since the beginning, and then we opened our buffet. So I guess that's 5. And then throwing the hot dog cart in there, because again, it's very, very popular now with with getting a few sports events and stuff, it's getting a little busier. So there you go. But yeah, right now our prime rib room, Mexican room, and oyster bar are all down. But hopefully in the next few weeks, we'll see them slowly come up. And then we'll have Michael's Restaurant is also one of our high-end gourmet rooms. It is currently open as well.
That's awesome. So you mentioned the buffet in there. I'm definitely eager to hear about what you've done to change the operations of your buffet. Everyone's doing things a little bit differently.
Sure.
What was your thought process, and what are you doing differently over there?
Well, so the restaurants are easy. That's just a matter of social distancing and, masks when you come in. Buffet, we're actually serving. The thought was floated to do what Wynn is doing, but, with the having the iPad at the table, you order, someone brings. But, for us, when we began the shutdown, we were serving and we opened back up serving. So customer comes in, walks the line, they hold their plate. We never take their plate from them. And then we just put the food on as they go down the line. And it's worked very well. We have extra management on the floor in the buffet because, we want the customer from the table to the line, make sure your mask is on and, above the nose, things like that. So we've increased staffing there to make it a little bit, more convenient, but definitely because, you have folks who don't agree with the mask, but unfortunately under the guidelines from Gaming Control, we have to maintain and police that. But I think the buffet, we do our gelato. We don't do our self-serve ice cream. So there's no self-serve, in the buffet. I mean, we have like individual shrimp cocktails where you can take, but the food line itself, we're actually serving you, which, for me, I think that's just the way it should be. I mean, it gives that attendant an opportunity to talk to you, versus the customer just coming in, serving themselves and sitting down. I mean, we have a PR moment with that customer when they're asking, well, what is this? Even though we have the line, label, but you have some interaction, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, I used to have one boss while I was growing up in my career that used to tell me all the time, he's like, we're not just selling drinks here, right?
Right.
We're selling the whole experience. And so you in essence are the buffet you're setting up just like normal operations, but you as the employees are serving the guests. That's great.
Absolutely. Yeah. And drinks, because we have a welcome bar in our buffet. So we serve the drinks. So the customer can't come up to the bar anymore. That server would come to the bar. We have mimosas and things like that, beers and things like that. But now it's like cocktail service. That server will actually bring the beverage, to your table. So yeah, and I think this is the way. I don't know any buffet opening that's going to ever go back to self-serve.
Yeah, for sure. And how's the reception for it so far? What percentage of locals versus out-of-towners would you say are coming in right now?
Well, we just had a couple of events in the building. I think those who look at COVID and really take it seriously appreciate what we do. I mean, we have our 2 or 3%, I guess, that come in and they don't agree at all, pissed at the governor and all kind of things. And, they'll give us pushback sometimes. They don't want to wear the mask, but unfortunately, they're forced to. So I think we have more that are appreciative of what we do versus the ones who kind of get pissy with us. But I guess you're going to have that anywhere.
Hey,
yeah,
Keith,
no matter what you're doing in life.
Yeah. Keith, what I wanted to ask you, as far as on your beverage side, like the bartenders, I know it's been hitting the whole community with the bartenders, everything that's going on.
Yeah.
How are you guys dealing with that? I mean, how is it happening on the big side of town, on the big industry on your end? How elaborate how it's affected you guys and what's going on now? Well,
I mean, beverage service for us really is not impacted because it's cocktail service. So the cocktail servers are really, really doing great. Where it's a downside is for the bartenders, because now you only, like our bars here, we only have 4 that are open. So you have one bartender that is serving a cocktail server, which is much easier. So you have folks out of work. So I think, and again, I strongly believe that, those of us who were doing it right or trying our very, very best to maintain guidance and stay within the guidelines, we shouldn't have been punished, right? But I think right now, cocktail servers are doing really well. Customer sits at the table, we bring the drinks. So I think minimum impact on service, but from the point of view of now you have X amount of bartenders who are now back at home on furlough, I think that's the downside to the decision that was made.
Got it.
All right. Well, thanks for that. Thanks for sharing. So that's some of the things that are happening in your place and kind of negative, but we're evolving. Let's talk a little bit about you, Chef. I see the Browns hat. It almost looks like you're wearing it right on top of your head there. And we spoke a little bit before broadcast. Tell us a little bit about how long you've been in Las Vegas for, where you're from. Maybe you just like to flaunt the Cleveland Browns, even though you're not a fan of them. Tell us a little bit about how you got in the industry, how you became so involved in allergens and things of that nature.
Sure. Right. Grew up in Cleveland, raised by my grandmother. So the love of cooking, that's where that comes from. Left home at 18, joined the Marine Corps, stayed there 10 years. And a lot of my food service experience actually came from there. I did a few different things in the Marine Corps, but food was basically where I started. Got out of the Marine Corps in 1988, came here to Vegas. First job, and I'll never forget Chef Warner at Bally's. I called him probably every day for 3 weeks, and eventually he hired me. So started off at Bally's, then was fortunate enough to be a part of the Mirage Group, Open Mirage, Treasure Island, Paris, Suncoast. So I don't know how many years that. My daughter's 32, so I've been here like a long time.
Yes, yeah, we can do some math from 1988.
You bet.
32 years. So you must have had your daughter right when you came here, right?
No, actually no. But listen, I've had a great journey here, and the opportunity to work for some pretty good organizations. I grew out of a olive allergy, some time ago. And 2009 was really our first hotel experience with a large group of allergen guests. And then 2011, we had our first allergen conference here. And that was really, I think, for the South Point, the turning point, because you had, 300 folks in the building, and most of them had food allergies. And the beauty was we had gotten the list ahead of time. So I knew everyone in attendance and what their allergens were at the time. So easier for us to be able to cater to that. But I strongly believe as an advocate, my daughter now has an avocado allergy, and I've been honored to become friends with mothers and fathers who have lost, children. So my passion comes from, making sure that those folks, especially when they come here, are safe. And just, when you think about the three of us, we could go out and dine and just have no care about what we're ordering. But when you have to, worry about, well, hey, does that have this or that? And it's pretty, when you think about pressure and stress, fortunately for me, my daughter was 22 when she became allergic to avocado. So I didn't grow up having to deal with that. And my allergy, I didn't really know it was a food allergy at the time. So, I just quit eating olives, and away we go. But allergens are here to stay. Well, food safety is here to stay. And I think, all three of us, because we all impacted in different ways, we need more of us. But that's, here, we have a really good program in place, and I'm honored, really, to be an advocate for all of those families out there who, just can't go down to a restaurant, sit down without a care.
Mark, I got to share something with you, Mark. I don't think Keith remembers this, but I'm going back maybe, I don't know, Keith, maybe 10 years. We're at some food safety conference, the health department, they're all over the place. And Keith and I start getting in a conversation about allergens. And I say to him, well, you know what? I have a peanut allergy. I thought that he was going to beat me up. He goes, where's that EpiPen? I'm telling you, because I told him I can't have the peanuts. The wife can't have the peanuts. Oh boy, he gave it to me, right, Keith? You remember that now?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Well, Jimmy, we have, epinephrine is the CPR for allergens. And I guess one of the frustrating things for a chef that gets it is that customer, like for instance, I'm over 35. So think about if I eat shrimp all my life, right? But now at 35, I develop an allergen. Well, because I've only had say I had itching and scratching, but no anaphylaxis where I stopped breathing, I may not take it as serious. So a lot of times for me here, when I engage a customer who's been eating whatever for years, and now all of a sudden, because as we get older, unfortunately, we're more susceptible to allergens. But that customer who's been eating shrimp for all their lives, but now they're having reactions to it, but still want to eat shrimp. Those are the ones, I guess, sometimes that are frustrating, because you're trying to give them, education, but they want what they want. But no, yeah. Jimmy, do you have your EpiPen?
Okay, you're gonna beat me up again. Okay, what I do now is I avoid peanuts. So we don't have peanut sauce. I mean, no EpiPen. I should, like I told you years ago, right? I should. My wife too. We cannot have anything with peanut sauce. So it's like when we used to go out for, what was that called? Oh, with the lettuce wraps. There you go, lettuce wraps. Sure. A lot of times they want to throw the peanut sauce on it. So we say, please, we don't want it. Then they'll tell us, well, it's marinated with it. That's why we can't have it, because what happens to me is I get like a closed throat.
Sure.
And also, I know way back in the very beginning when we started this, Jennifer was one of our guests, and she actually said, I was telling a story that she actually gave me some type of smoothie that had melons in it. And I didn't know that I was allergic to that. My throat did the same thing.
Cross reaction.
So sure. I pretty much stay away from those things, At least I know what it is.
Yeah.
But some people don't, like you mentioned, and then they find out.
I'm still going to get on you. I have a really good book. Email me your address so I can send it to you. So I wrote a book.
Right. That's where I wanted to get. Show the book.
Yeah. But in my book,
lift it up more.
In my book, Jimmy, I talk about you. Right?
Uh-oh.
Those who try to avoid allergens. Because as chefs, we do some really creative things in the kitchen. So you can avoid peanuts as best you can, but there's no guarantee that we won't cross contact within the kitchen, right? So I'm gonna send you a copy, and I'm gonna stay on you until you have. Mark, you have to help me with this. I'm gonna stay on you until you have a diagnosis. Yeah. I mean, not just you think a diagnosis and the EpiPen.
Chef, I know where Jimmy lives. If you want to go beat down his door.
Okay.
If the wife is watching, now it's it. She's gonna make sure. What I mean? I think I'm worse than her with it. But I know she has not. Maybe it's just as bad. But no, it's very important what you're saying. It really is. You can't get away from that because a lot of people. I mean, I know that several restaurants, they have those systems in place where they'll hit the button for somebody. Mark knows what it is from the front of the house. Usually it's not micros. It's another system. Maybe it's micros too, where they have the allergy button. Yeah. But, it's like sometimes the guest doesn't want to tell the server, hey, I have this allergy, and then the server's in a situation where I don't read your mind, right. You know what I mean? And that's where the allergens come into play with you, like to list it, and I see where everything is going,
I can't address an allergen unless you tell me. And so here, we have signage at our door because we want to welcome you. Once you come in, you can't miss the sign, which just simply says, please make your server aware if you have dietary concerns or allergens, and then we can go from there. And you're right, there's some folks, because it is a disability covered under ADA, but some folks don't want us to know, right? So they don't tell me. And unfortunately, I can't do anything about that. But once you do tell me, I can take it from there.
Wow. I have a question. This might be a longer conversation, but I'm actually looking for a little education because I've been in the restaurant business my entire life. And when I was first growing up and acted as a food server, having allergies wasn't even a thing. And
100%.
On a menu, I can remember some of my first jobs. There was no conversation about allergies or peanuts or shellfish or anything like that. People just what they want. So has the mentality of people changed, or have we really gotten those allergies? Where I don't want to get into a long political conversation about it, but let me know a short version of where all this has evolved from.
Well, I think allergens have always been around. I think we have better vehicles of getting them out there now, because the three of us, I think we're probably similar in age. But remember, growing up, you have a tummy ache. What did you do? Either take baking soda or Pepto-Bismol on the couch, felt better the next day, and we're on our way. I think you have a lot of folks who, self-medicate or, self-diagnose and really don't go to the doctor. But I think social media and being able to get the information out there. And then I think also industry-wise, allergen families are now starting to feel comfortable, talking about their allergens, because it's not like the plague, for lack of better. Their families are willing to, talk about allergens more. And then, I think one of the neat thing is you have chefs and actors and people who are, senators who have food allergies. And I think that's where your conversation has really become a little bit more broad.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, that's such important thing. And I think that the health district's going that route too.
Yeah.
Right before this pandemic hit, they were on their route going that way, correct?
Yeah, actually they rolled out their program. We were fortunate to do the filming, their training video here at the hotel up in Baja Miguel's, and which was really neat. Which, Jimmy, this, allergens have been in the food code forever, right? But no one really ever addressed them. But now you don't have a choice, because, you have 30 plus million folks, nationwide with life-threatening food allergies. And it's a conversation now. So health departments, I think, restaurant association and, organization, hospitality associations. I mean, we need all of those groups to just jump into the pot, because again, this is no different than food safety. Allergens are not going to go away.
Correct. It's there. And I don't know if they're going to develop the demerit system with that. It might be, you know what I mean? It's going to fall into the category of like your menus, I'm sure it's going to fall into that category. Do they have allergens? Because I know we were discussing things about that maybe a certain menu item's got to have a certain allergen, even if I remember it in the conversations that it may even go more broad into it.
Sure.
As soon as this pandemic hit, man, it just like wiped a lot of things off the slate for a lot of people, Well,
it's going to be tough for them, I think. My earlier conversations were really simple. I think demerit wise, if you know, in the first section on the inspection sheet where it talks about, HACCP plans and things like that, I think that's one of the sections when you come into a restaurant. Do you have a plan in place? And just like you both know, the PIC has to have currently ServSafe. Do they have equal allergen certification? And I think that's where you'll find it's going to be pretty tough for them, demerit wise, to come in and really look at violations other than knowledge. If it's on the menu, some disclaimer on the menu, and then the first section, where it talks about HACCP plans and SOPs, things like that. But I think they've made a start. They have a program, beautiful things on their website in regards to allergen awareness. So I think that's a start.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Hey, Mark, guess what? Chef Keith had just had a 20-year anniversary at the South Point, correct?
Yes, sir.
Or with Boyd Gaming, you said, right?
Yeah, well, actually with Michael Gong, with Mr. Gong.
Yeah. Actually, that was actually, I don't know even if you knew this, Jimmy, but that was actually my first management job, or my first real job away from working with my family was at the Gold Coast when Mr. Gong had that, and that was I actually left there to go open up Bellagio, but I was manager between their steakhouse and their Italian room, working between both restaurants and working as a server a couple days of a week. That was actually one of my first real management jobs, and one of my first jobs that I didn't work with the family. And then I went to Bellagio right afterwards. But yes, with the Gold Coast, and it was a good time and a good learning experience.
Absolutely, great owner, just a great person. So it's been a good journey here, and I appreciate Mr. Gahn and all that he's done, not just for me, but for us as us as workers, and he's definitely one of those owners that is very unselfish. Always thinking about like he likes to call us his people. So.
And that's what's
yeah,
so
well, I mean, yeah, absolutely. So it was just announced yesterday that the Raiders aren't going to have any fans this season, which is in the new stadium, in Allegiant Stadium, and but you guys were going to be one of the closest resorts to there, with the easiest kind of route, not having to fight through the I-15 and the traffic of the Strip. Were you guys planning to do anything? It would seem to me that would be the perfect spot for fans coming from different cities to come and see their team and get out of the cold weather of Buffalo or New York to come and see their team. Were you guys planning anything special, that you were going to adhere to a lot of these people coming in? Was there any different business as normal that you were going to have?
Not that I know of in relation, like, of course, Super Bowl and playoffs, we always open up the exhibit hall and the banquet room, and have those kind of parties. I don't believe that there was anything in the mix to do like game night or game day. I mean, our sports book is always open, anyway. Yes. I'm sure that would have been, and we have, of course, extra TV monitors and stuff in there. So that's probably the closest to game day. But of course, unfortunately, if the season's not going to go forward, there won't be a Super Bowl this year. But yeah, that's probably the extent of what we would have done.
It just seems like such great access, and with the semi-parking issues that it feel like they're going to have, that you have a great parking lot and easy access, and a good way to get people in for and shuttle them into the games.
Yeah. And you know what? Not having that conversation, I can't say that we would have, but you make good sense. And if anything changes, I'll definitely reach out to you and let you know, because you never know. Miracles happen every day. So, 1st of September, this could all be over.
Yes. Well, it's funny you guys are saying that, because I'm getting some couple of these comments here. It's tell the chef, because they see the brown hat behind you. He said, tell the chef that the only team that is second in losses to the Browns the last 18 years is the Raiders. Okay, so don't feel so bad. Okay. There's people here that are saying the information that you have, actually the wife, she says the information is phenomenal that you're offering as far as in the allergens and everything. And and one person said that his biggest thing with the allergens is definitely the peanuts. They get a lot with the peanut allergies, So, hey, people love you out there, man. I just want to get the word out, especially the way you come across, that everybody is seeing what you're doing now is the way you come across when you teach your Serve Safe class. Yeah. Mark has the same style, how he reaches the people when he does his classes, and I can see where, it's similar, because you guys know how to get to your teaching. I mean, I can do everything to the health code, and I can train, I can lead the horse to the water, but if they don't drink, it's a lot different than what you guys do. You know what I mean? You guys have an approach that is really second to none, because you're reaching your student. And I get so many compliments from you, Keith, with the Serve Safe training, because they feel like you're one of them.
Yeah, well, I think Mark would agree. We are. I taught at the Art Institute for 9 years, and getting students to do what you need them to do. You had to, I think, come up with strategies. Same thing with anything food safety related. First of all, it's boring. So getting someone, Serve Safe. A lot of folks who reach out to me because health code says PIC has to be Serve Safe certified. But when I get in the classroom and I'm able to, all of us are from industry. So, being able to relate to industry and really the things that are happening, and getting that student to just understand that food safety may be boring, but it's necessary, right? Hospitality might be boring, but it's necessary. And having tools to be able to, get that customer not only to come to eat in your restaurant, but to come back, and then keeping them safe. I just think technique wise, you just gotta be able to, see who's in your room, and then just kind of cater to each one. So in my classes, there there's always a lot of joking and fun, and we talk about, the famous poke through, that when you think about symptoms and that worker who has diarrhea goes to the bathroom and has poke through, and I always wave that finger up there, right? So you get them understanding why double hand washing is important. When you get the girls or the ladies in the classroom that says, ew, that's nasty. Well, yeah, it is. But I think you're right. I think I have to look at my audience and excite them, get them excited about learning about bacteria and 5 symptoms and illnesses. So,
yeah.
Yeah, well said. That's got to be a tough subject to teach for both of you guys sometimes. A good portion of what we teach here is wine and spirits and beer. That's got different challenges because everyone's a little bit more excited to learn and drink about that. But the distraction goes a little bit more after a couple samplers. So
yeah.
So
Mark, I think the one thing is when you have someone coming to class because they have to come to class, it's different than someone coming to class because they want knowledge.
Sure.
So if their job is making them come to a class and they really don't want to come anyway, but they're doing it because they have to, whole different mindset. So when you have them coming because they want to, we have them. I mean, you're here because you want to be here, and now I'm gonna feed you.
Yeah, that's true. Well said. You've already lost half the battle if somebody doesn't want to be there to begin with, right? So
you betcha. Absolutely.
Hey, Chef, one thing I wanted to ask you from a chef's point of view, which hasn't been really touched on any of our podcasts because we really didn't have anybody from the back of the house from the Strip, and I really didn't ask this question, but Rose Henderson says hello, Keith. How do you like that?
Yeah, Rose is good people. Say hello for me.
Hey, she's on there, man. She's watching you. What I wanted to ask you is, ever since, this happened, and now that you're reopening, have you noticed any difference in any of where you get your produce from, maybe your vendors? You notice that it's less or it's hard? I know now it's probably more and more is happening, but when it first happened, was it scarce for you as well as it was for the people on the like the mom and pops?
Absolutely. We had to modify menus because a lot of the purveyors, they didn't have stock for obvious reasons, and trying to get it in was really tough. So I think most chefs across Vegas had to be creative with menus, right? Now we're kind of stable, and now you have problems getting gloves and sanitizer. But I think produce, meat wise, I think we did pretty well, with our meat purveyors and getting in, the steaks that we need. But produce and some of your herbs and things like that was tough. I would say tough in the first week or two, and now we're pretty stable.
Awesome. And how about any silver linings? We've talked to a lot of our guests, and they've been able to find a silver lining in all this, as we kind of all have to as we go through this. We need to adapt and move on and make the world a better place. Gino gave a really good answer last week, Jimmy, and he basically said that he got to know his team really well, that they're going through a crisis together, and now they're like family. A lot of people have talked about how they've been able to develop their systems a little bit more, or really critique their business a little bit more, what's working and not, or have time with the family. Is there any silver lining for you and your operations, or you personally, that you've going through this?
Well, I think everything you just said. But for us here, I always believe better is coming. This isn't the only crisis that we've had to deal with. I think here it's taught us to manage better. We're currently doing more with less, right? Mm-hmm. But the less steps up to the plate. So I think it's brought us closer as a team, and then. And this is top down. I mean, from the owner and the GM, this is top down. So I think this makes us better. One of the things I think the chefs here are doing better. They're managing their stores better, right? It's your restaurant, so now you have to manage it better. So I think we've learned. We've definitely seen in the staff. There's a renewed, I guess, appreciation for where they work. And what they do, and I know the three of you know this, when everything is rosy and going well, you always have that one or two that's always complaining about something. And now, you have the worker who I am thankful to be here, and I think that's something that's brought, not just in the food industry. I think that's wherever you look. Personally for me, I believe better is coming. I look at this as a worldwide lesson, and I always say, what am I to learn, and try to take from it everything I can to not only make myself better, but family and of course here. And when we look at hospitality standards, and I think you both would agree, whether it's food safety or hospitality, we have all had to raise the bar to not only keep who we have, but to now woo those new folks in who are really timid about eating out now.
Makes a lot of sense, because it has to start from the top.
Yeah.
It has to start from the top. Like you mentioned, if you got support and you got excellent ownership,
yes,
and you do your excellent training, and it all funnels down to the employees, and that's what makes everybody together. And that's the way I always, like it. Of course, I started in the industry out here. I was a health inspector years ago in Florida, but when I came out here, it was the Bellagio.
Yeah.
So I started at the Bellagio, Mark and I started together. I was the food safety guy, but it was a whole different approach. I've learned so much from that experience, and it's because it started at the top, and you got the proper training going down. And I agree with you 100% what you're saying, and it has to start from there. I've always believed that. Yeah. It has to start from the top and work it down. But again, the tools have to be in place, and it has to be people like you that keep it going.
Well, Jimmy, I like to call them heart moments. And I think, Mark, from your classes, I think now is one of those times where it's easy to touch the heart, and you got to have those heart moments where the workers get it. And I think the three of us, if you come to the table because we care, and I think you both would agree, workers know when you really don't care.
Mm-hmm.
You're just kind of going through the motions. But I think now has been a beautiful opportunity for managers to kind of say, you know what, this is a restart, right? For all of us.
Mm-hmm.
This is an opportunity to do better. We may have been doing okay, but let's get rid of okay. We want to do great now. And I think the tools that the three of us bring to the table, pretty awesome. And Mark, I haven't met you yet, but I've heard some things. So I know that you and your classes, you have those heart moments as well. And you come to the table with passion. I think that's what this COVID moment has done for most of us is, it's given us, a renewed hospitality passion. And we just got to go out there and flaunt that.
Yeah, well said, Chef. It's one thing that we've touched on a couple of times on the show is that, it's a sad state of the industry that we're going to see that a lot of our restaurants are going to close, maybe not inside the resorts, but there's going to be some restructuring and some rechanging. But all the rest of the restaurants, what's going to separate you from the guy next door? It's going to be genuine hospitality. And restaurants, like you just touched on, restaurants that have been open. I know some restaurants that have been open in this town for 10 years, and they're restaffing their restaurant and they're retooling it and they're using for time for training. Now, yes, whether they're using the right resources for their training, maybe they're training the same way and they're just using it as a same method to change over employees. But now is their opportunity to, hey, this is what we should have been doing for a while. And in the trainings that all three of us have done, and
sure,
the staff that I'm talking to now, people have a pep in their step. They're appreciative of their job. They see, people who are in the restaurant business, they hang out with other restaurant people, just like the three of us are doing right now, right? Mm-hmm. So they see a lot of their friends who aren't working, unemployment's coming to an end. Wow, I have a job. Maybe I'm not just going through the motions anymore. I'm going to keep
right.
And this guest interaction for what we're doing from this point forward, every guest, matters. And one of the things that we do teach in RHI is that the best upsell that you can make to a guest is not that extra, shot of Grand Marnier in the margarita. It's not the extra slice of cheese on the burger. The best upsell that you can make is have your guest returning.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
There's a reason why every time I go to the South Point that I can't find a parking spot.
Right.
And I want to go in real quick just to get a quick pastrami sandwich or a hot dog or make a bet. And it takes me longer to find a parking spot because you guys are doing the right thing all the time whenever you go over there.
And if you remember, I clicked on your name off of Jimmy's page, and this is a month or so ago, and you inboxed me, and some of the things you just said about hospitality were because I was reaching out for knowledge, and you shared some things with me, and you're right. I mean, you can give, here for like customers, unfortunately with the limited seating, we'll have a customer or two that didn't make reservations, but we don't want to lose them. So maybe we'll give them, we'll take them to the Silverado Lounge and give them a glass of wine, while they wait. So, and again, I think you just touched on it too. That's raising the bar. How do we have you, and how do we keep you? So I think that was one of the things that certainly our food director here mentioned before we opened, when we were doing our initial training before opening up, is we already have good customers and a good track record, but now we have to raise that bar. And I think you mentioned we have to do things that we've never done before. So,
and they're not hard. The easy thing about hospitality is that it's free.
Yeah.
Hospitality is free. Some eye contact, some smiling, buying somebody a glass of wine. I mean, you buy somebody a glass of wine, for waiting another 20 minutes, and you're going to get $150 on their dinner on the back end. I mean, and it's hospitality, and you're making the guests know that you've gone the extra step, that their dollar is important, which has kind of been lost. My dad's going to allude to this a little bit about old Vegas and new Vegas next week, but it's just taking that extra step and making the guests feel welcome. And I bet you between the three of us, we can come up with 20 places in town that we don't go to because our dollar is not recognized, and our dollar. So now we vote with our dollar, and we don't go there anymore. And a lot of the places perhaps will be closing. So
no, I agree. I just to share, I opened when I was younger. I opened Macaroni Grill on over by the freeway. That's one of my favorite places, because anytime you go to Macaroni and Grill, 4 or 5 people might touch your table. If my drink is empty, it may not be my server that filled it up. And that's one of the things that in training I mentioned here, right? My server might be busy with another customer, so it's those touch points, touching the tables. But I was much younger when I worked at Macaroni Grill. Yeah,
that's right. I worked there for a little bit too, I think.
Okay, great restaurant.
Yeah, I mean, and most of the restaurants that I ran over the course of time, I implemented, and this is what I learned at Bellagio, is I worked at, team system, to where you have not just one server and a busboy that kind of looks over 2 stations. You have a dedicated captain, a dedicated sommelier, a dedicated server, a back server, a busser, all on the table. So, and now all of a sudden you train these people to work all together. Now you can make their job more efficient, and they can look over more tables. So it's a win-win for everyone all the way around, including the bottom line. So
bottom line, I agree.
Yeah. And that's the only way to make them to come back. You want your guests to come back. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's the key. I mean, I go out a lot. We go out when we did go out to eat, we look around, we look at the different things, and, you want that service. You want the, you want the attention. You want the server to really pay attention to what you're ordering, not like, hey, we got this. And that's when I look at Mark's training. And, and there's things like I mentioned this in other podcasts before. There's a lot of things that when Mark speaks and teaches and he mentions things about the hospitality world, the part, menus and what he says to servers. And, it really hits home, because I really never thought of it that way. Sure. And it's very important because, you want that guest to come back. Yeah. You want them to have that good experience.
Yeah. And times are changing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And the same old thing that we used to do, can't do those things anymore. And I think COVID, is it not changing the way we, look at food safety, allergens, hospitality? It's definitely changing the way, we do things. So.
No, I know. I mean, someone recently told me that you may see a change in Vegas to where they go more towards the adult theme again, like it was back in the old days. I'm like, wow, I never thought of it that way also. Will the theme change? There may be a lot of changes in our industry, It's just who's going to take the lead and do it,
And you and Mark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Chef, there is one question, okay, that we always do every because we can spend hours with you. You're a great guy. We'll have you on again. We'll just give some time. But there's one question that Mark likes to give everybody, and it's a great question. And I think you'll enjoy it. It's all fun. I'll let Mark take the lead on this one because he does it every week, and we've had so many excellent stories on this. It's really go right ahead, Mark. Take it.
Yeah, Chef. He's looking at me like, what's this guy coming with right now? I can see the look of your face. So he's getting a little sweaty on the forehead. No. So you said you came to Las Vegas in '88. So you've been over here for over 30 years now. You've worked up and down the Strip and off the Strip. You've lived a personal life here. So we have a lot of viewers that aren't actually even from Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And people who live here. So give us a good story, whether it be a hospitality story, a personal story, gambling story. Give us a story, a Las Vegas story that you wouldn't believe unless you spoke to somebody who lived here and understands the lifestyle that we have.
Oh, no, that's definitely putting me on the spot. Well,
maybe a celebrity you dealt with. Maybe you won a bunch of money one time.
Well, definitely didn't win a lot of money. Well, Mirage days. Let's see. I don't know, Mark. That one for me is a tough one.
Maybe it doesn't have to be the best story, but a good story.
You could always tell the story about the jersey.
Oh, you mean my Cleveland Browns jersey?
Yeah, there you go. Share that one. That's a great story.
Well, I'm just okay. I'll hold it up. For you. I mean, I just use, just like my helmet in the back. I grew up in Cleveland, of course, and that's you just stumped me a little bit. That's something I have to think about. But no, here these are props that I use here because I have a lot of haters that talk smack about the Browns, and so I have my helmet, I have my jersey that I'll hold up though. But yeah, maybe next time I come on in a couple of months, I'll have a better response. Good question.
Yeah,
I didn't see how your last podcast how they answered, but yeah, I'm gonna just have to take the fifth on that one for now.
No, it's all good. It's all good because what it is if I think I know exactly what you're talking about, because if I think of a one moment, okay, there's just so many, right? Yeah. I mean, there's so many, and to put it in perspective, I think right now the experience for me in the moment, what's the great experience is the family. You know what I mean? So now, if you want to go back 10 years, what do I say 10 years was? You know what I mean? Oh, my wife I got to tell you this. Mark will love this. Sonia just said, better than the Jets. The Browns better than the Jets. Okay.
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
See what I mean? See what I got to deal with?
But Jimmy, I would say to you, when I first came to town in '88, and I had, I didn't know, of course, that I had to do referrals to go down to the union, right, to get my first job. I probably put in 20 referrals, Caesars, all kind of places, right? And I go back to Bally's and Chef Warner, who I keep in contact with to this very, very day. And I remember, if you remember Chef Warner from Bally's, when I first came here, I called him every week, right? After I had the application in. And I remember the day that I called, his secretary was Diane, and I called, I said, Miss Diane, just following up again on my application. And then the following week she called me and she says, the chef will see you. And I remember walking to his office, and he very, very stern and sat down, and he looked at my application and my military history, and he says, I'm going to hire you today. You start on Graveyard tonight. So, I think the city is very welcoming. And that was one of the days that, and again, I keep in contact with him to this very day, because he gave me my first start here when all the other places, never called me back.
You see, that's a great story, man. That's what we're talking about. That's excellent. Keith, I just want to say thank you so much, man. It's fantastic to have you on. Your expertise, your knowledge, I mean, your experience is fantastic. And I thank you very much for coming on. It's a great, I mean, like Mark will tell you, we can do this for a long time. You know what I mean? And I appreciate it. We're definitely going to have you on. But we're probably going to do like repeat guests again later on. But right now, we want to try to get everybody in because, it's a lot going on right now. And you're going to be involved in, because we're going to reopen again. So you're going to be very busy coming up, right, Mark? Am I right?
Yeah. That's the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they can't keep us down, and I know you guys know better than I. I mean, we've gone through stuff. And I think now is just, industry professionals like you two, Mark, I think, you from a hospitality point of view, we're rewriting the book on how we do things, whether it's catering or restaurant. We're rewriting the book. And I think, Jimmy, from the food safety side, I mean, really, if you look at some of the guidelines, hand washing, right? Yeah. It's been a staple. Now we just have to do it better. But no, I look forward to the challenges and working with the two of you because I know you're going to be out there changing lives as well, which is a plus. But no, I appreciate the opportunity just to hang out with you and bump elbows for a minute, Mark. Pleasure to meet you and chat with you. But anything I can do to help either one of you, make sure you reach out.
Thanks, Chef. I get a Serve Safe. I need to get Serve Safe certified. I think my expiration is coming up soon. So
let me know. I'll come to the school. You set the class up at the school. Give me a date, and we'll go from there.
Great. Awesome.
All right,
thank you.
Chef. You have a wonderful time, and I'll be in touch soon, pal.
Okay. Looking forward. Take care. Have a great day.
All right, buddy. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That was great. Great perspective from the industry, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that was great.
Yeah, very good.
What about our next week? Next week's going to be a lot of fun. It's not Shark Week. It's the Men of Steel Week. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. Let's see. Well, it's he's got a lot to. I talked to him on the phone even earlier today, and he had a lot to say, and he's going to have a lot to share. So he's going to have a lot of good stories. Those of you who want to hear about old Las Vegas and the way that things used to be pre-1990 and before that, he's going to have a lot of insider scoops. So bring your questions, and you have some good fun stories as well.
Yeah, and again, next week we're Monday and Tuesday at 2, and it's a special one, and we accommodate guests, when they can make it, and it's going to be fun. We love what we're doing. So, Mark, anything special besides Men of Steel Week? Anything else going on for you?
Yeah, well, I mean, we got the class coming up on the 24th, which is still a few weeks away. One thing I want to touch on, I don't want to run too much longer, is that something went above before the commission today in Clark County. And I don't know if you saw this, but earlier today that there was a petition signed that third-party delivery drivers or the fees are going down, cut in half pretty much, because they were right around 30%, and now they're maxed out at 15%, and that's going to be till February 1st. So, that's a win for the little guy, and hopefully that helps out, just helps out.
Yeah, now we got to get them to take our training class. Then they're going to be all well-rounded.
That's the next step.
That's the next step.
Yep.
All right, Mark, you have a great week. I'll speak to you soon, pal.
Thanks, Jimmy.
All right, bye-bye.